in Ontario, Canada, and Young Living, I should say the YL Success Summit founder and creator, gold leader, and super cool human being with the best haircut in the world. And we have Tom Woloshyn on for another Facebook Live that we are doing a great little mini session tonight for just kind of a live Q&A. So as we usually give it a couple minutes for everything to kind of get fired up, because sometimes there's a bit of a delay with the platform as to when we can see everybody coming in. So when and as you're coming into this Facebook Live, just go ahead and leave a comment and let us know where you're tuning in from. It's always kind of neat to see where everybody's tuning in from. And yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over and we're just going to kind of talk about the Master Cleanse, what it is, how it works, why you would want to do it, and how it fits in, because specifically we're talking to everybody that's on the YL Success Summit page. So presumably we're going to make the presumption that you're involved with Young Living or know what Young Living is as a company, and with all the great products that they offer and that we have access to. It's pretty spectacular. So this is a great fit for really just your health and wellness tool belt and protocol for something that you can do a couple times a year. The recommendation ideally is 3 to 4 times a year, doing it 10 days at a time. And then we have a guest who's going to come on and she's going to talk about doing or talk about her experience, because she's been doing the Master Cleanse since 2004. About 2004. Now, to clarify, I'm not saying that she's been doing the Master Cleanse straight for the last 16 years, but she's been doing it periodically and has had some pretty profound things happening. So I've been rambling on here, Tom, but welcome, and thanks for tuning in with us.
Just putting some joy on. I just had it up here, so I thought I would.
Nice.
Well, nice to be on again.
Yeah.
Just on a different platform, I guess.
Yeah, we just jumped off Zoom.
So if some of you were in the group before, I was answering some questions, and here I'll get a little more involved in answering those questions. So as those come in on our sidebar, we'll be answering that.
Yeah.
Really excited to do this. This has been sort of my life's work. Not sort of, it's been my life's work for the last 40 years. This is what I've done with my whole heart at all times. And because I find it very exciting and rewarding, and just the people, it's just meeting the people. It's always wonderful to meet the people that are just like I know Barney and stuff through all of this. I would. So Linda, it was last year, contacted me from I don't know if she called I can't remember now. She called my wife first, or I was away. I was in Las Vegas, and she phoned here, and my wife answered the phone, and then talked to her, and she came to the house and give her a few pointers on the cleanse and stuff, and then I came back home, and then I started treating her, and she's gone through an incredible transformation. Actually, I wish I would have almost had a picture of what she looked like before. Like, she is like unrecognizable. Like, I think she'll tell you, I think she's lost 50 or 60 pounds, and she looks years younger and feels so much better. But how soon did you want to bring her in? Barney?
Yeah, well, let's do that now. I just saw a whole bunch of comments show up from on the side here, and we'll bring Linda in just a couple seconds here, for sure, because I think it'd be kind of cool to talk about that and have her share her experience, and then we'll go over a couple other things. So we have Joanne from BC, from Cranbrook, and Tamara, or Tamara, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but will this be recorded? Yes, it will be. And so it will be recorded. So the neat part about the way this works is that it just shows up that where it's live, the same link that you would click on from the email if it was sent to you, is the replay will be just on this page. And then you can share it, tag your friends, or leave a comment and just say how cool we are, because that's obviously true. And Danielle from Kansas City. So I just want to answer those questions. And I think, Tamara was asking this again about it being recorded. So, and yes, and Joanne, we met in BC at the Northern Lights farm up in Fort Nelson, British Columbia, and that was pretty awesome. And Sylvia from Toronto, so we've got a fellow Ontarian on here. But yeah, let's bring on Linda. So we'll do the countdown here. It's going to bring her in. And Linda, this would be kind of cool for you to share your experience. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to jump out. I'm going to hide myself and then let you guys just kind of share a little bit and talk about just the experience, because I think it's pretty awesome.
Hi, Linda.
Hi. How are you?
Good. I guess how I described how we met was pretty much that way. You phoned my home phone number from the back of my book and talked to Leslie, and then she forwarded your information to me.
Yep.
And I called you, and then you came to my house, and I can't remember, you picked up something from me. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I picked up I picked up a bottle of sacred frankincense.
Oh yes, that's okay.
Yeah. And you talked to me about color and those kind of things, and I knew I had to make some changes, and I just took it from there. Initially, when I called you, I had just finished the cleanse. I had just finished the cleanse at 24 days, and when I called you about my diagnosis, you told me I needed to go on it for another 16 days. I was like, what? 40 days? No way. It was a struggle. Like, I did have to break it for 3 days, but I went right back on the cleanse. And since then, I've been doing the cleanse once a month. And as you mentioned, I've lost 60 pounds in that time. And when I met you, I didn't think my health was all that bad. But when I look back on my pictures, I think, oh, I was in bad shape. So yeah, it's been life-changing. I've changed the way I eat. I've had to change my mindset. Now, whenever I have to start the cleanse, which I do once a month, it's not really a problem for me anymore because I feel so good when I'm doing it. So it overrides everything that, of everything that I'm doing. So
yeah, I should also say that she comes in for some regular sessions. She gets VitaFlex and sometimes Raindrop. Also prolapse colon lifts. Those are all adjuncts to support her process in healing herself. She also uses color therapy. You have a foot roller and stuff. You use the oils and have been recently using some CBD oil. So she's taken and just
advanced cleanse too.
Pardon me.
And the advanced cleanse too.
Oh yeah, and she's done the advanced cleanse as well. I'll talk about that later. So she's been what I would describe as a very good client. I make suggestions and she takes it and runs with it. I don't have to twist her arm. I don't have to threaten her. I just, say, here's the options. Here's what you need to do. And she's been willing to trust the suggestions I've made and go with that. Mm-hmm. And that's what you call it, a good client, somebody who follows your lead. So it's been a pleasure working with you, of course. And she's also brought in her mother at one point, and her mother's come in for a few treatments. So I met one of her family members. And of course, she's met my family members. Anybody who comes to my home, I have 2 young children, and they come and harass you. So.
Yeah, and whenever I have anybody talking about their ails or whatever, I always recommend the cleanse because I know that it's doing its job. I mean, everybody can see the difference that it's made, and they can see the changes that it's done in my life. And so I've had a lot of friends try the cleanse, and I have a couple of friends who are doing it on a regular basis now. So it's been really cool.
Yeah. Well, there was I was going to mention something else, but it's slipped my mind. Oh well. Wait. What? I guess you've already said how much it's impacted your life and stuff.
Yep.
There was something else. I just slipped my mind.
When I start the cleanse, in the very beginning, I really knew it was mind over matter, and I would try, because it was kind of hard to start it at first, but now that I've been on this run now for over a year, it's not a problem to start, because I know the outcome.
Yeah.
And I always tell myself, take it one day at a time, because sometimes when you start thinking 24 days or 10 days, it can be daunting. And especially when I want to challenge myself, sometimes I'll challenge myself. My last, you had asked me, you told me actually to keep going for 40 days. That was hard, and I did break it for the 3 days. But in the past, when I would do it, I wanted to challenge myself, and I'd actually work myself up to 24 days. So it's anything anytime you go on the cleanse, I always find that's been beneficial. When you talk about the candida, I had a really bad case of athlete's foot that I could not get rid of. I've gone to see specialists about it and everything. Being on the cleanse completely cleared it up. It really surprised me how well it did. So, yeah, I can't say enough about it.
One of the things I wanted to bring up was that when we first met, well, actually before, you were talking to Leslie and found that you weren't doing the cleanse quite as it was recommended and suggested. And so that was one of the things, and that's happened a lot. It used to be that 50 to 75% of the people I talked to who do the cleanse would do it wrong. And of course it wouldn't work or wouldn't get the kind of results you were hoping for.
Yeah.
And once we kind of straightened that out, everything, worked so much more effectively for you, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Yeah, I did. Because you don't realize that you need to do it to the T. And as long as you can keep on following it, you'll get the results that you want. And I always feel the best when I'm doing the cleanse. For me, it beats eating regular food, but I don't want to be on the cleanse all the time. But once I start eating, I actually want to go back on the cleanse because I feel so good when I'm doing it. But I know I've got to eat for a couple of weeks and then I'll go back on the cleanse. So.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for your input, and we'll let you go. And that was, I truly appreciate this. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Before we kick you off there, Linda, I wanted to pull this question up by Shirley was asking. It was just said, what is your mindset with the monthly cleanse? So what are your...
Sometimes I dread it because I know that, I've got to do the cleanse, but you know what? I know it's the best thing for me to do. I am fighting a disease that can take my life. And Tom has directed me every step of the way. And actually, without his help, I wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in now. I've lost 60 pounds. Like, everybody that sees me will, not a lot of people know that I'm fighting this, but when they see me, they wonder, what the heck am I doing? And I'll tell them I'm cleansing. I tell them I'm cleansing, and I've become a vegan as well. And they see the results, but they don't want to sacrifice their lifestyle. And especially with all that's going on in the world right now, and when you're out shopping and everything, and you see what people are buying, I go, oh my gosh, that used to be me. I would be putting all that stuff in my cart. I was really bad for keto chips and things like that. I don't eat those things anymore. I just know how bad it is for your body, and I'm more focused when I'm about to do the cleanse. I just have to tell myself it's one day at a time. Get through the first day, you'll get through the second day. By the time you get to the third day, it's a breeze. But now I'm so used to it. After the first day, it's not a problem. I just got to get started, and then I'm on my way. Right now, I'm challenging myself to do 24 days.
Okay.
And if that progresses, and I do well, I'm thinking about 40 days. So that will be a goal of mine. I'm just taking one day at a time after the 24 days.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about the 40. I'll just do one day at a time.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty awesome. Paula says congratulations, and good on you for doing that. That's pretty awesome. So Shirley says thank you for that. And then Tom, real quick, can you tilt your screen towards you a little bit, just so we can see a little more of your because your head's getting cut off. Yeah, there you go. Because when I put the comments up, then you get cut off a little bit.
Okay.
So last thing here, because I think this is really good, which by the way, guys, if you have questions for Linda, so how many times approximately do you think have you done it yourself? Like,
since I started in about 2006, 2004, around there, I was doing it maybe once or twice a year. And every time I would do it was basically because I knew that I wasn't eating very well. And I just knew I needed to get back on track. And I noticed that I would just feel so good when I'm doing the cleanse.
yeah,
After the first few years, I noticed all my allergies went away. I used to be really bad with hay fever. I was on antihistamines from spring to the end of summer almost. Really bad reactions to everything. They're gone. I don't have that anymore. So I really like that.
yeah.
I probably do it like there's times when I want to do it for like I'll do it for 10 days, but then there's other times I'll do it for most of the times it's 14 days I'll do my cleanse.
Okay.
That's the minimum I like to do for.
And so you're doing it once a month approximately, or
It's about once a month, and there's been times I've done like 14 days or more, or like it depends on how I feel or how my progress has been, or sometimes I've strayed a little bit. Not that I've gone back to eating meat or anything, but maybe I shouldn't be eating like tomatoes or something like that. And
Yeah.
I'll go back on the cleanse because I need to get back on track. But it's once a month is usually what it is right now. And
Okay.
I really like it. I really like that I'm doing it once a month, and I can actually see myself doing that for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
honest.
that's good, and I think that would be, a wise thing to do, because obviously it's serving you very well. I think that the challenge that I can already feel it right now. Somebody on the call is like, "Oh my gosh, I don't think I can go without my food." I literally had some of my training clients here who I'm not training right now, because I still train some clients part-time in my private in-home studio, and just because I enjoy it. And I was encouraging them, and they're like, "Oh no, I can't go without food. The hardest thing is I'm going to be doing this, and then I got to make food for my family." But it's a mindset thing, and you definitely have to be ready for it, because it isn't. In the beginning, I mean, this is just my experience. I know, Tom, you've been doing it how many times, and same for you, Linda. But for me, being on the greener end of the lower end of doing it, but I plan on doing it more, and I've done it several times, about 4 times. And I will agree with you that I felt better after the first couple of days. The first couple of days were really rough for me. And Ashley was asking, just saying like mind over matter. So what are a couple of your tips? I think you mentioned a couple already, but like just a couple tips for mind over matter from your perspective, Linda.
Well, when people say to me, I can't go without food, I always let them know that the lemonade is food. Like we're just so conditioned that we're supposed to be eating and chomping on something, but they don't realize that the lemonade is food, and I am consuming anywhere between 1,000 to 1,600 calories a day. So that's sufficient enough calories for me. And then plus, what I really enjoy about it is like I don't have to prepare dinner. I've got so much time for myself. Sometimes you're busy during your day when you're working or whatever, you don't have time to make your meal. But when I'm doing the cleanse, I actually enjoy that because it saves me so much time from preparing my meals. So that's another thing that I tell myself, like I'm going to have more free time for myself to just enjoy and relax, de-stress. I incorporate my Young Living oils with it now too. Tom's got me on the Young Living oils. And so that's another mind thing that I've got myself over. Like,
Yeah.
I used to miss, chewing on food, but I don't miss it anymore. I look forward to that now. And as far as like cooking for families concerned, like when I used to do it when my daughter was a child, I enjoyed making food for her.
Right.
I didn't have to make it for myself, but I enjoyed making it for her, knowing that she was still being taken care of, and I had the time to, concentrate on making her meals. So it was another good thing.
Yeah, I was going to just jump in there real quick and say that somebody had asked before, not on one of the calls, but just said, they were there first. They said, well, I don't think that I could do it because I don't think I could go without eating food. I'm like, okay. That's fine. That could be even more of the reason why it would be a good idea for you to do it anyways. But then the other thing is that the savings, and I actually just want to,
Yes.
my wife to do it, is look at how much it costs for the maple syrup, the cayenne pepper, and it's just water, and then lemons. And then as you're giving your body that break and taking a load off, literally and metaphorically, to take a load off when you're doing it. I would imagine, like, Tom, what are your thoughts on that? Like, have you ever run the numbers to kind of see like how much it costs per day for the average person to do the master cleanse?
I have, and it depends on, the price. Like, the prices have changed with maple syrup and stuff, and it depends where you get it. But typically, people use about 2.5 quarts or 2.5 liters of maple syrup. And if you're spending $15 a quart, or you could be spending $25 a quart, depending on where you go.
And that's over the 10 days.
Yes, that's over the 10 days.
Not per day.
And then 1 2-pound bag of lemons will last you generally a day or more. You might end up using, I would say maybe 15 to 20 pounds of lemons at most. So lemons I bought today were $6 for a bag, $3 a pound. I was at Whole Foods. I bought four more bags, and so it's $3 a pound. And if you go through 20 pounds, that's $60. And if you add another, say, $40 for the maple syrup, that's $100. Your cayenne pepper runs you $5. It's $105. You need a laxative. The one that I recommend you can get away with for about $15 or so. That's $120, and then your water.
Right. And that's for 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's coming off with the oranges and orange juice in the last 3 days.
Right.
But the 10 days, So the 10 days, you could get by with $125. Right. And some people would get by with even less, depending on how much they drink.
And where they get their maple syrup. Because we can get, and where we are in Ontario, I can drive down, we're in Mennonite country here. I can drive 30 minutes and get 4 liters of like the best maple syrup, in my opinion, in the world for like $40.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's like straight from the farmer. Linda, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I just want to say that because I've been doing the cleanse for so long, I've gotten to know my body so well that actually when you have hit the next level, it's amazing. It's amazing because your body is, releasing things, and then you go, oh, well, that's unusual. That wasn't supposed to happen, or maybe it was. Like you just don't know. And it's also emotional. Like it can be also emotional. Like and Tom picks it up for me all the time, like, because I wasn't picking it up at first, but he'll say, oh, you're releasing this, or it's you're at a certain point of the cleanse where you're starting to release certain emotions, like whether it's fear, sadness, or whatever that is. So you start to get to know, like, your body better, and you just know when you're hitting a different level, and you know that you're going on a higher vibration. So
yeah, well, that's pretty cool. I think there's pretty awesome for you to be able to share this. So to kind of circle back, which Susan's asking, so what does the master cleanse consist of? So we'll get into that. I think there's a couple more things, and then Linda, we can let you jump off. You're welcome to obviously stay on here in the lobby section. So Melissa, I think this was already answered, but just in case some of you who didn't get it, and you're coming in after, is you're asking Linda how many days you normally cleanse in a month, and you had said 14.
10 to 14 days.
10 to 14 days, yeah. Now, the in Tom's book, the guide to the master cleanse is it the complete guide or the guide to the master cleanse?
The complete master cleanse.
The complete master cleanse. That the recommendation as like a good base is to do it quarterly. So once a quarter, 4 times a year for 10. There you go. For 10 days, right?
Getting used to the camera here.
Yeah. We'll put a link. I think I did already put.
Well, you used the cover of my book. Yeah. So
I did. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll put the link here if you guys are ready to jump in. then you can just go to fullcircleholistichealth.com/master cleanse and go. It's just by the way, we're going to talk more about what it actually is. But if you already know what it is and you know you want to do it and you are looking for the support and for some of the benefits that Linda talked about, then you can go and get yourself set up there. So that's great, Linda. Thank you so much. Tom, did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just noticed, somebody came in with a question about maple syrup and insulin. So I think I might want to answer that. That's the last question that's come up.
Sure. Do you want to do? Okay, let me, Linda. I'm going to get here. There you go. Okay, good. And then let's start. Let's start with this one. What is Susan came on and was like, what is the master? Like, what does the master cleanse consist of? Because that's we just kind of jumped right in talking to Linda. So let's just a brief summary of it.
So the master cleanse, Susan, is a liquid mono diet you do for 10 days, and it consists of freshly squeezed lemon. You can use lime juice. Limes have to be ripe, not a green lime. It has to be almost yellow. Maple syrup. It's got to be real maple syrup. Any grade of maple syrup will work. Stanley Burroughs generally recommended the darker the maple syrup, the better. And cayenne pepper, a good quality and generally buy organic, and water. And whenever you're hungry, you drink a glass of this, which generally consists of about 6 to 12 glasses a day. I typically drink 10 or 11. I used to drink 12, 14, sometimes 16 glasses a day. I don't do that. I'm heavier now, so I need less because I'm losing weight, not gaining. And then you have to take a laxative twice a day to keep your bowels moving. And you go, why do you keep your bowels moving? Well, the thing is you're getting rid of what you ate maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago that you never passed. And my first cleanse, I lost 9 pounds, and half of it was just stuff coming out, going down the toilet. And so that's stuff that was poisoning my body. And this is stuff that often people call me and they're frightened. They go, what's coming out of me? And I go, better out than in. I don't know what's coming out, but it's better. And they go, it smells bad. And I go, yeah, and it looks worse. I said, well, it's just what your body does not want, need, or desire anymore. Your body is now able to cleanse itself. The lemonade doesn't cleanse you. It makes it so that your body can cleanse itself. So that's basically it. It's just lemonade for a minimum of 10 days. And the longest I've known anybody to do it is 372 consecutive days. And it was a woman out of near Atlanta, Georgia. She was 61, 62 years of age. And she was running 7 miles a day at the end of her cleanse. And if you don't know this, if you know who Gary Young is, Gary Young did 256 consecutive days of the master cleanse, and he was in a wheelchair when he started. And the intention was to starve himself to death. And at the end, he got up and walked away from his wheelchair, and then went on to get trained by Stanley Burroughs and start his alternative healing center in Mexico. And then from there went on to discover his future with essential oils and Young Living essential oils. So that's that's what Master Cleanse is. And the original creator of this was Stanley Burroughs, and it's been around since 1941. And so somebody was asking about insulin resistance. Well, I've known many type 2 diabetics who have done the Master Cleanse and say their blood sugar is more balanced and normal on the Master Cleanse than when they're eating and taking their medication. However, if you are a type 2 diabetic, you don't use maple syrup at first. You have to use molasses. And if you are type 2 diabetic, you should call me and I can give you the recipe for that. Or it is also in Stanley Burroughs' book, which I'll pull it out here. This is one of the early copies, Healing for the Age of Enlightenment. And this has got the Master Cleanse in there as well. But it's got, there's a block in there for how to do it if you're diabetic. But you could call me as well. And the problem with this diet is that it's too simple. I mean, when I first encountered this, I said, this is absurd. I said a bunch of BS. Drink lemonade and heal diabetes and cancer and arthritis and allergies and asthma and blah, blah, blah. I just said, it can't be true. And eventually I finally went on the cleanse to prove how smart I was. And as it turned out, everything I thought I knew was right was now wrong, and everything I knew to be wrong was now right. I mean, that was my experience. And the only way to sort of come to this is to do it yourself. And that's what I ask people to do. You don't have to trust me. You don't have to believe me. Who knows? Maybe Linda, I've just paid her $100 to do this. Actually, I didn't.
Yeah.
And thank you, Linda, for doing this. And maybe I should do something for her anyways, but thank you. So
yeah, and just to clarify, I'm going to jump back on. Paula put here about, and I love the taste as well, just wash your lemons in the wild veggie wash, please. So you definitely want to do that. But to clarify, you did say that you said the lemonade, but you said it was a mixture of the fresh squeezed lemon juice, maple syrup, and then the cayenne pepper, correct?
Yeah, and pepper and then into water.
And with water.
You make it as a 10-ounce drink. Now, please don't do this unless you get a book, and my book, it's so simple to do that people do it wrong. It's just too simple. They want to change it, modify it, adapt it, just anything to make it different. And I go, and so my book has all of the instructions. It explains how and why everything works from a scientific perspective. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. But a lot of stuff, there are a lot of people in there just didn't really understand some of the simple aspects of this diet. Like, well, how does it work? Well, first thing is you stop eating. And you go to a food that requires so little digestive energy that all of that digestive energy, which is probably over 50% of your body's energy needs, are used for digestion. Well, now suddenly that's freed up into your body. All those enzymes to break down and digest food are no longer necessary anymore. Those enzymes are now being used to heal your body, to break down waste, toxins, unhealthy cells, and mostly a lot of the crap that's still in your system is breaking it down so it can be readily passed. Lemon and cayenne break up and loosen mucus and waste in your body. Maple syrup provides the energy source, a very healthy and safe energy source. And then the water just hydrates. Then you have to take a laxative twice a day, which makes your bowels move so you can eliminate the crap your body doesn't want. It's simple. Now, it's maybe not as easy for people to appreciate or do, but some people, I've had people do it and go, I could do this for a year, not a year, but indefinitely. They'll say, I love the way I feel. It feels so good. The thing is, I've talked to thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and the people who don't get results with it are people who haven't done it correctly. And it's just, you've got to do it right. And if you're not going to do it right, I say, don't bother doing it, or if you're going to not do it right, don't say you did the master cleanse, say you did your own version of that. And that's the experience you got with your version, not the master cleanse.
Yeah. Yeah. That, and I found when we were doing it before, this was before, I think we only had one, we did it before our children. We have 4 now.
Yes.
They're 9 months, 2 years and change. She's going to be 3. And like 4 and 5. So we've had 4 kids in a fairly short period of time. And I remember just the first couple of days, it was really the psychological part of like just that habitual pattern of action that just, you go through, I wake up and I would normally just have my coffee and I kind of crave the coffee and then I stopped craving it and then was getting so used to eating food. And then I was like, this is actually just better. And I have a high value in my life right now for being the sole provider for my family. And it brings me a lot of fulfillment, being able to have more energy and time and creativity. And so at the time when I was going through it, I remember there was a lot of energy getting liberated in my body. And it was a lot less time in the kitchen. And so it was great. I'm looking forward to that. But to be fully transparent for everybody watching, I think the hardest part is if you really are on a lot of coffee. I think that's probably the most challenging part. But once you get through that, it really actually does get a lot easier. But I just wanted to say that once we get onto a bit of a roll, it actually gets it does become a lot easier. And Joanne had a question. She had messaged me privately and asked, and I said this would be great. So she said, I'm still going into work, so essential work, and we have social physical distance in place. We put that in there. And I use immune suppressing drugs. I'm a little concerned about not being able to take my Nature Red oil supplements and remedies during this rather nasty time. So we talked about this on the call for the kickoff call for those who have already joined, but keeping in mind that this is on the public forum,
Yeah.
drugs and stuff. What are your thoughts on that about Joanne? Because I think there's more people that are going to be asking that question.
Okay. So Joanne, I've been a practitioner for 40 years, and people will say to me, Tom, how do you protect yourself from your clients? I go, what do you mean? Aren't you afraid they're going to make you sick, or you're going to, I go, no. I say, if I take care of myself and I cleanse regularly, I don't set my body up to become a host for a disease or an illness or a condition. Like, we only get parasites in our body because we are unhealthy. When you change your health, like what I believe and have seen is that, yeast, molds, funguses, viruses, bacteria, parasites, they can only live in a specific environment. And that environment has to be a being that is, or like there's a human being that has to be acidic. The pH in our body's got to be below 7. And when I may below 7, it may be 6, 5, and people into cancer can be even closer to 4. Our pH should be between 7.3 and 7.4. What lemon does, it's an acid food, but it is one of the most effective alkalizers you can get. So I'll give you a story. I had a naturopath write to me, and he would test his urine and his saliva every day with a pH strip, and his strip every morning would say about 6.5. He went on the master cleanser for 10 days and continued to test his pH, saliva and urine, and it dropped to 6. And a lot of people go, oh, it went to 6. I go, yeah, it went to 6. Maybe it could have gone to 5, but it only went to 6. Well, he said, when I finished 10 days and went back to eating, my pH went to 7. So his pH went down a half a point because he was dumping acid. And then when he went back to eating, his normal pH now was 7. So the master cleanse isn't a make you sick, a make you prone to illness program. It's designed to stimulate your body's own ability to protect itself and heal itself. I mean, I've worked with people who are HIV positive. I've had people who have very infectious diseases and stuff. And do I protect myself around them? No, because I don't believe I'm susceptible to it. Now, I could be, depending on my emotional state. And so if I had a fear or a belief that made me prone to a specific illness and I was around somebody like that, I might take then some specific steps. But that would be to hopefully change my mindset I could be taking herbs, or I more particularly like to use essential oils because they're almost instant in their effect. You put them on your skin, and within 1 to 3 seconds, that 75% of that oil can be in your bloodstream. In 1 to 3 seconds, in 21 minutes, every single cell in your body has been impacted by that essential oil. And the half-life of an oil is 10 minutes. So if you get a drop in your body, not on your skin, but if there's a drop in your bloodstream in 10 minutes, that means there's a half a drop. In another 10 minutes, there's a quarter drop. In another 10 minutes, an eighth, and so on. And generally, that's gone within 2 hours. Well, where does it go? It doesn't go anywhere. It gets metabolized. It actually burns, and it does its job. So most other compounds don't work that quickly. Another thing I use is color therapy. This is my latest color lamp. I'll do it actually this way. And color therapy is the shining or application of light on the body for healing. People go, what? Light? Hey, if there were no light on the planet, would there be any life? Probably not. All the food that we eat delivers only one thing to our body. And guess what that is? Light. We only get light from food. Plants take sunlight, convert it into organic compounds and or food, glucose, essential oils, whatever. And then the plants we eat release that energy back into our bodies as we digest it or convert it back. So plants take basically through photosynthesis H2O or water and CO2, carbon dioxide, split those molecules apart, rebuild them as organic compounds. Our body, when we digest foods, and particularly when we burn glucose, the byproduct of burning glucose is carbon dioxide and H2O or hydrogen dioxide or water. So we go in the reverse. So our bodies only live on light. And in fact, the color in color therapy that causes your body to detoxify is the color lemon. It's when you mix green and green and yellow together. It's that bright color that you see on warning signs of the color of fire engines. And that's the light that makes your body detoxify. And guess what color lemons release into your body as you digest it? Guess what? The color lemon. And that's why energetically lemons work that way, that cause the body to cleanse. So, I don't know how much easier to sort of explain this. Like somebody has written to me, it says, how about if one might have high blood sugar or even or maybe even a diabetic and has not been medically diagnosed? Oh, high blood pressure, I think, or no, just high blood sugar. Will this 10-day cleanse harm them? Well, yes, it will. No, I mean, it'll harm the diabetes or your high blood pressure or high blood sugar, in that it will, I believe, and what I've seen. So I've seen people, I had a client a couple of years ago who came to me to buy maple syrup. And she said, my husband's in Los Angeles and he's coming back in a few days and we're going on the cleanse. So she calls me up and said, her husband's not going on the cleanse. He went to the doctor and he had his blood sugar tested and he was pre-diabetic. So this man said, well, I'm going on the master cleanse and that'll fix that. And the doctor said, no, that's why you're diabetic. You're doing the master cleanse. So he called his wife, said, I'm not going on the cleanse. So she says, oh, I know. I'm going on the cleanse. He just listening to his doctor. And so he comes home with a blood sugar monitor. She goes on the master cleanse for 10 days and he eats his diet. He eats well. He tests her blood like 4 times a day, tests his blood 4 times a day. Guess whose blood sugar is more normal and balanced for 10 days? Well, his wife's. And he's now kind of outraged. And he's going to fly back to LA to talk to his doctor. That doctor, he used to live in LA. He now he lives in 2 or 3 places throughout the world, and tell him, you got it all wrong. Now, here's the thing. The reason why that test came out that way is he'd been up very, very late gambling, ate a meal like late into the night, I think well after midnight, got up early, went to Starbucks and had some kind of sugary drink, and then they checked his blood sugar. Well, there you go. I mean, it was just a little bit of abuse, and that's why that showed up. I mean, I have had clients with 65 to 70 units of insulin a day, and within 4 days, they're telling me they're off their insulin completely. So is it unsafe? To the medical establishment, maybe, but for people, the thing is, you've got to do this program right. It's not, I can sort of do it, or I'll do it this way, my own way, I'll have my own version. No, you've got to do it as it's laid out. And it's so simple. It doesn't need to be modified. And the reason I wrote my book is so many people didn't actually properly follow it or understand how and why it worked. And once people read that, then they go, oh, now I see why I have to do it this way, that why this has to be done, why this has to be done. And it's just as I say, you've got to trust that when you're doing it, that it's going to work for you. Don't go in with, am I going to die? Will I be tired all the time? Will I not have energy? I mean, myself, I thought I was going to be tired. And after 5 days of sitting on the couch waiting to be tired while doing this, I finally went, I guess that's not going to happen. And I went out and started exercising. It was, I mean, we have these preconceived notions, I have to say that I didn't have as much energy as I normally have my first cleanse, but I was pretty toxic. But now, whenever I go on the cleanse, I have more energy. I have more strength. I'm 65 years of age. I have a child going on 3 and another going on 6. I'm generally up once or twice every night. It's not unusual to go to bed at 12 or 1 o'clock and then be up a couple of times and then sometimes up at 7. So I'm lucky to get 6 hours of sleep, if not 5 hours. Like last night, I went to bed after midnight and I was up at least once. Actually, my wife was up. She got up a couple of times. And just one of our little girls is having some issues. And
yeah, well, that's good. Just to jump in here, that was good. So Joanne, she says, thank you. That answers my question, which is awesome. I think, and I know that it's great that you gave that, like the foundation and more context as the, not just like yes or no. It's good to have some context about why, because she's asking. Really, I think there was just the concern, is, as Joanne said, I'm just a little concerned about not being able to take my Ningxia oils and supplements. But to clarify, you can use your oils while you're still on.
Absolutely, yes.
You might be taking some internally. So Tom's going to give some specific guidance on what to take internally. Of course, making sure that they're the plus line in Canada and the Vitality in the US, unless you choose otherwise in your own house. And then also the topical application for some oils as well to support the body, especially, and we can say this in Canada, if you get a headache, then there's oils that you can use for your headache. So that's good. So just as we're kind of wrapping up, because it's already 5 to 10, so we're getting close.
Oh, is it already? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I answer this last question here?
Yeah, well, there's this Elena Madrigal. I think that's how
I kind of thought I addressed that.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Oh, you okay?
One from Ashley.
Okay, let's see here.
That's the last one that's on my list.
Oh, she would, but real quick while we have Elena up here, she's saying, what do you, she was saying about the medically diagnosed, will this 10-day cleanse harm them? Or do you have suggestions? And then what laxatives do we use? So
okay. So one that I like to use, you can't get in Canada, but you can get in the US, is called Swiss Kriss with a K, Kriss, and get it in tablet form. Many people use Smooth Move, but I've had people use Smooth Move and they've had 8 bowel movements a day, which is, you don't want to have 2 or 3 a day is normal, or they've had one in 8 days. The thing about Smooth Move, you've got to let it steep for at least 15 minutes to get it to work properly. With Swiss Kriss, it's a tablet. I take anywhere from 3 to 5. Typically, at least a few days, I'm taking about 4. Sometimes I'll go down to 3, but you can adjust the dosage. The bottle says take 1. 1 will not work on the cleanse because you're not eating, you're drinking only lemonade. So you have to take a higher dosage, and you've got to find the dosage that works comfortably for you, which is at least 2 or 3 eliminations from your bowel every day. Of course, you'll be running more frequently to urinate. But, and if you don't want to take you have to take the laxative every night while on the cleanse, and you have to take the laxative every morning, or as a alternate, you don't have to take the laxative in the morning. You drink a whole quart of sea salt water. So she's going, what laxative do we use if we're in Canada? I used to use Stomach Ease, but that's not available. Smooth Move is pretty much everywhere, but there are others that are around in capsules. The thing is, you will have to take a higher dosage. Like, you just got to find whatever laxative you get, you've got to find the dosage that works effectively for you.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, Joanne, since I'm going to make the presumption that you're going to join along with us anyways, then we can work together and try and find a good one for us Canadians. So this is here the
I was
question.
going to say, through VitaCost, you can get Swiss Chris delivered to your door. VitaCost, I think it's vitacost.com. I've ordered it and it came. I bought it to see if it would come here and it did. So that's another option.
Okay, cool. And then Ashley's question, and then we have another one from Paula. By the way, if you guys have any quick questions you want to ask, put them in the chat box. We'll do our best to answer them. So Ashley's question is, would you continue blood pressure meds on the cleanse or monitor each day?
So what I have seen is that the master cleanse reduces blood pressure. And if you're on meds, your blood pressure can drop quite low. So you either have to stop one or the other. And I can't tell you to do one or the other.
Right.
I'm not a doctor. I don't prescribe or, can't say you take this or not take this. What I've known many people to do is to wean themselves off their meds while they're doing the cleanse. And each day they're on the cleanse, as the lemonade is kicking in and normalizing their body, the need for their medication seems to subside or diminish. I've known people to say they're on thyroid medication, have found that they have gone off for the 10 days. And when they go back onto eating and on their medication, I've had people say I can get by now with half the dosage of what I did before I started the cleanse, which seems to get that the body is now working more efficiently.
Well, I think would it make sense that, from my experience in coaching clients when they've been on drugs, I'd say I can't say one way or the other, just judge by results. And some of them would start to go a little bit delirious because they would keep their whatever they were taking at the same amount, and then as they were exercising and losing weight and they were less body fat and they were becoming more energetic,
better heart strength,
their body was actually assimilating it more and more efficiently. And when you're not taking in as much food,
it's
not as much
hours.
substance to kind of slow down its assimilation into the body. And so I don't know for sure. That's just my presumption from being in holistic health for 18 years. But I mean, as you said, you just have to judge by see how you feel. If you're taking it and you're noticing your body kind of go off a bit, then adjust, because it's your body and you have to make that decision. But I think that answered the question for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is cool. I think Paula was just saying, I don't know if she has a question here, was just saying thank you for your all your great information and the book.
It's a great read with so much info. We must have our mind in a no fear state to keep our immune system strong. I also work full time right now, and I am taking lots of, and I can't see the rest. Probably.
Yeah, that. And then she's saying, can you put a tab for where you get the maple syrup too? I heard you say that you can get it from you. So do you, or maybe did you say that you can get the maple syrup for people?
No, I used to distribute maple syrup. I used to buy it bulk and usually mostly the health food stores and stuff, and also to my clients. But I buy it in bulk, and then when I repackage it, it's not hot packed, it's cold packed, so it has to be refrigerated after I open it.
Right.
So it's not something I'd be shipping through the mail. But Costco has organic maple syrup. They have the #2 amber in Canadian terms. It would be a form of grade B, what used to be grade B in the United States. In Canada, we also used to have grade C, and they call that #2 amber, and that's the darkest. And generally the darkest is got the more mineral content, but any grade of maple syrup can be used. But it's got to be real maple syrup. It can't be Aunt Jemima. One of my clients said to me, her husband went out to buy maple syrup and he came back with Aunt Jemima for her.
Yeah.
It's something you use on the cleanse.
Oh, I know.
So somebody's asking about my book. You can go to my website.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it on here. So this is, well, pardon me.
I can sign it for you as well.
Yeah, so here, Tom's website, by the way, is vitagem.com. But if you're thinking of joining along with us, because technically we start tomorrow, just a brief little summary. there's 3 phases to the cleanse. There's the preparing for the cleanse, like to get on or to go on. And then so that's 3 days. And then there's 10 days on the cleanse. And then the third phase is coming off or transitioning back into solid foods. And there's a very specific process involved to kind of getting ready to go on, just avoiding and eliminating certain things from your intake and your food and your nutrition. And the first 3 days, and that's starting tomorrow. So even if you're watching this live and it's tomorrow and you're wanting to get started, you still can. I'll put the link in here that you can, it's fullcircleholistichealth.com/master cleanse. So it is a long one, but that's the link that we're using right now that Tom and I are working at together. And then you have an option to buy his book, and then you can just get the online group cleanses, just $30. So it's, you get the support. He's going to be going live every day for the most part within the entire 16-day period. So if you have questions, there's a Facebook group. I'm handling the back end tech support, so to speak, and then so that Tom can really just focus on teaching. And then all like this call is going to be recorded. The call that we just did, that was a kickoff call just before this one. So we've been going for 2 hours straight now. That was recorded, and that'll be in the group. And then you can ask your questions, and you can get your book signed. So when you order it, Tom gets notice, and then he'll sign the book for you as well. So that's my big, long little spiel there for you. But yeah.
I see there's another quick question, or somebody was saying, does it wipe out the immune system while you're doing? I don't know why it would do that. If that were the case, to that Jade, I've done the cleanse maybe 1700 days. I would have no immune system if that's what it did. I've not seen a doctor since 1979. I did get a flu back in 1997, and I was not in the best emotional state as what was going on.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm not one to get sick very often. It's infrequent. And if I get sick, my bad days are usually better than most people when they're not sick. So
yeah,
because I have 2 young children. I've got to look after them. I have clients. I have other work. I have things that I do. So it's not a make you weak and sick diet. It doesn't tear you down. It's designed to make your body stronger and healthier. And so that you're not affected by, I'm going to use the word dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
Dis/ease. So you don't have dis-ease. I don't believe, this is kind of getting, I don't know if it's on or off topic, but Stanley Burroughs was going to write, when I met him back in 1986, he said, I've written this book, Virus Be Damned, and he wanted somebody to help him edit the book. Well, that wasn't my thing at the time. But he really hated hearing anybody say I had an illness, like a cold or a flu or a virus. He would say, that's not what made you sick. Your lifestyle made you sick. You only got the virus because you were already sick,
Yeah.
So that's what Stanley would say, So the thing is, you don't have to understand or necessarily believe anything I say. It's a do it yourself and make your own decision from your own experience.
Yeah.
That's how we learn, I did it to prove it wouldn't work. And here I am 41 years later, still doing it. Here's my empty glass. It's been a couple of hours. So when I'm done, I'm going to go have another lemonade.
Some more. Yeah. Well, and I think that is important too. It's like, don't, to some degree, I mean this respectfully. Tom means this respectfully. So don't do your best not to interpret it otherwise, but don't believe anything we're saying. Join along with us, do the cleanse, because this is something that we have the time. One of the main reasons is because last Monday, we did a call. There was a couple hundred people on, and it's been viewed over like 10, 11 or 12,000 times to support you guys. We haven't been doing a whole lot with the summit. I've been very busy. The summit's going to come up this fall. I thought, I just feel the need to share some voices of reason. And then Tom reached out to me and said, hey, we should do something for what's going on in the world. And then I asked Dr. Jim Bob and Dr. Jessica, and it was a great call. And then this came up and there was a lot of interest. And so it's great because, I mean, if you are concerned about your finances at all, and Jade, I think that your question was answered, so I'll pull it down there. But if you are concerned about your finances at all, about budget, not from a fearful standpoint and an anxious standpoint, but just being like, okay, well, maybe if you want to kind of scale back a little bit, this is perfect. Because if you are at home, awesome. We have this amazing technology that we can support each other no matter where you are in the world, number one. Number two, I'm cool. Tom's cool. We can help support you. We're here with all the work that I've done with the summit, with all the work that Tom does with his work with the VitaFlex, and all of his great work with his book and the Master Cleanse, is that it's just a great opportunity, I think, for us to just kind of band arms, even if it's energetically together, as a group and a community of people to support each other. And that's the purpose of this. And it's only $30. You get the support from Tom, and then you can buy the book. And then we were talking about the numbers. So if you just came in now, this is just rough calculation, but it's around $125 to buy your lemons and your maple syrup, and then laxatives and cayenne pepper. So that's for one person for 10 days, which is pretty awesome. So if you're at home and you're not, because that is a big question, a big hurdle, or a perceived hurdle that I've personally believed at one point in my time, in my life, and other people that I've heard that were thinking about doing it. They're like, oh, I'm busy. I've got too busy lifestyle. I can't be doing this. How am I going to eat? And how am I going to make this juice? And they couldn't really see how they could make it work. But since a lot of us are home more now, we have the opportunity. We don't know. It could be a couple of weeks. It could be a couple of months. We really don't know. And it just to take time, get grounded. And yeah, I just wanted to say that that's good. Don't believe what we're saying. Try it for yourself and see how it goes. But it also is good. I think if you came on late, I'd encourage you to go back and listen to what Linda Chow had to say. She was on earlier, and she's been doing it for almost 16 years, has lost 60 plus or 70 plus pounds. And it's pretty amazing. Now, granted, that has been over a period of time. It's not like you go on this in 10-day period and you're going to drop like 60 pounds.
Well, it's been over about the last 6 months, Barney, that you lost all this weight.
6 months?
Yeah.
Oh, just hang on. I don't know if we can hear. What did you say there, Linda? Okay. Wow. Okay. So I stand corrected, and I literally am standing in my office right now. So that's good. So if you're interested in losing some weight, you do this. Now she's doing it every month for about 10 days, 10 to 14 days. But I think the first step to take that I would encourage you to consider very strongly is to go through this with us once. And it's going to be fun. We're here for you. And I think we got pretty much all the questions. And I think there's one last one from Ashley. Does your book go into the physiology or I think she meant physiological changes within the body, but I don't know that it does.
I don't know to what extent. Like I don't get into, or I haven't described like what happens, to your blood per se, or like one of my friends did 40 days in a row. This is back in 1980 when I first learned this work, and he is doing this because his girlfriend had leukemia, and he didn't necessarily trust to just have her go on it. And he did 40 days in a row, went to his doctor. They took a bunch of bloods, did a bunch of tests on him, and everything scored normal to above normal, except where it was like 1B vitamin or something that was a little low. And then he went to a special clinic where they did a physical fitness evaluation for an hour and a half. This is after 40 days. So he's got to run and jump and do all this stuff and test flexibility, stamina, strength. And they again scored anywhere from average to above average. This is after 40 days of master cleansing. Then from there, he decided, okay, it's safe for my girlfriend. She had leukemia. Did the cleanse for 10 days and was going to the cancer clinic every day, getting her blood tested. And on the 10th day, her blood was normal. And that is exactly what I was taught in my workshop. 10 days for leukemia. And
Wow.
and then shortly after that, my first client was actually a young man dying of leukemia. But he did like 51 days in a row, but he didn't test his blood till about day 27.
Huh.
When it was, when it was clear. So
yeah, Paula, that's pretty powerful. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. Paula just says, I know it lowers cholesterol, and Valentina
yes.
says, how often is it recommended to do the cleanse? And
Stanley in his book says, 4 times a year is by no means too often. I
10 days.
I like to do it at least 3 or 4 times a year. With my kids, I've not been as diligent as I have been in the past, so I'm a little behind. So this is normally I've been traveling a lot, and I haven't had as much opportunity to do the cleanse. So this is great time to do it.
Having little ones running around the house can definitely change things. I know from experience right now. So Valentina, that is the plan, and it depends on how this goes. To be fully transparent and frank, putting these little events on do take a fair bit of bandwidth and manpower, so to speak, for to be able to have Tom have the time to be able to do the support. But I think, and at least this is my gut feel on it, and Tom, we can talk about this obviously after, but there is the potential that there would be a quarterly group cleanse online, because I just think the vision that I was given a long time ago as part of my life purpose, the mission and vision as a human being, is to help impact and educate and inspire millions and millions of people around the world to get better in touch with the plant and animal kingdom. And I'm in it's no surprise that that's kind of funny, because I'm funny, not like in a hysterical way, but like an interesting way, because I'm in marketing and advertising, network marketing, affiliate marketing, and I run a full-time marketing and advertising agency. And I say this because my purpose here is to help make it easier for Tom so that he can do what he does best, is the teaching part, because he's 40 years of experience. And so I think that there's a possibility that we might be able to do something like this on a regular basis, but we'll see how it goes. And so I encourage you to join in now, because I think now's better than ever. I've had 3 people message me the hour before the call. They got the email, they were thinking about it, and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. Like, there's this and there's that. And the one girl said, I'm breastfeeding, but I don't think I can do it. And Tom did say on the other call, correct me if I'm wrong, that if they're breastfeeding, is it safe to do?
Well, I've been married twice, and both of my first wife actually breastfed 2 children while on the cleanse. She did it for 7 days.
Yeah.
And Leslie, my present wife, has breastfed both children while being on the cleanse. And in fact, Stanley Burroughs in his book said that if you're having problems breastfeeding, go on the master cleanse to produce more milk.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds
counterintuitive.
crazy. However, when I was actually here, this is something I haven't remembered for a long time. I was with Stanley Burroughs, and he lived in close to Sacramento, and we were watching the evening news, and we had been drinking lemonade, and this study came on, and it said, study done by the University of California, I think Sacramento, college, said that they did a study and found that pregnant women and nursing women have no greater nutritional need than women who aren't pregnant or nursing. What happens is their digestive system becomes more efficient, and it extracts more nutrients so that they can provide breast milk. So if you can do the lemonade while not breastfeeding, it means you should be able to breastfeed while doing it. And when they said this, Stanley said, yeah, I already know that. You'd have to know Stanley. And somebody was saying, what if you have low blood pressure?
Yeah.
Low blood pressure, take extra cayenne pepper. That's what I would suggest. And then she says, also, I lose weight if I don't eat enough. Well, if you don't want, I've seen people actually gain weight. One of my friends did it for 28 days and gained 8 pounds. He was black belt in martial arts, and he gained 8 pounds of muscle while doing the cleanse. And in those 28 days, you would get 1 ounce of protein in the whole 28 days, but yet he put on 8 pounds. So if you're want to gain weight, you drink lots of lemonade, and you could add an extra tablespoon of maple syrup into each drink, and that helps to prevent losing weight. I had a woman who weighed 78 pounds, and I said, you got to go on the cleanse. And she said, I'll die. I said, well, at least you'll die trying. So she was quite sick, and she did it for 28 days and lost only 4 pounds, but then gained weight back to, I'm sure she got herself up to at least 90 pounds at some point. She was quite sick.
Yeah, so that there is your answer, Tamara. And yeah, Elizabeth, I'll just say this real quick. Find it really interesting about breastfeeding women. I would also say that I talked to a naturopathic doctor in in Australia, and she is very passionate about educating people on this. This was for the when I was talking to her about this ion detox foot bath, and she was having clients using it, and they were saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing it when they're breastfeeding. And then she's doing some sort of a study and saying, no, this is her thoughts on it. But because it's I think it's more so when the women are pregnant and they're carrying the baby, that it's not advised to do a lot of detoxing and cleansing, just because a lot of the stuff can get released and go into the baby. But then again,
well, hold on. Can I hold on for a second?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Both of my wives, well, my first wife had just been diagnosed with cervical cancer. So I said, go on the cleanse. And she actually got pregnant at that time. She did the master cleanse, used color therapy, and using Louise Hay's work. We had 2 babies 11 months apart, and we were told that she had to have a hysterectomy in the next day or 2. Wow. And then Leslie did the cleanse with both children being on the cleanse. It's not always necessarily recommended for the first trimester. It depends, though. Second and third trimester, by all means, you can go for it. But if I were working with a woman who is not well in the first trimester, I would absolutely. That's experiences I've seen. I've worked with several women who are, pregnant. I actually have even, I delivered a baby without a doctor or midwife around myself. So I've had some experience with some of this stuff. Not that I claim to be a midwife or have, no. I've been around a few births. I know how to do a few things.
The master cleanse can do amazing things. Okay. I thought Paul had a question, but just say amazing information. Thank you once again. Go drink your lemonade. Yeah. Thanks, Barney and Tom. So yes, thank you. And thank you, Linda, for being here. And if you guys all think that we did a great job, then let our bosses know and we might get a raise. That would be amazing. And if not, then keep your opinions to yourself. Okay. And yeah, we're starting tomorrow. So the 3 days are the 3 days of prep. So if you're watching this after as a replay and it's Friday or Saturday, or even in the future, you can reach out to us and let us know. We'll let you know when the next one is if you missed this one. But I did put the link in the chat here, and it's fullcircleholistichealth.com/master cleanse. And there you can get ready to roll. And Tom, thank you so much. And we'll, for those of you who are going to join, or just jump in with us, we're going to be live tomorrow on the Zoom call at 3 p.m. Eastern. And other than that, stay blessed, stay grateful, stay humble, and stay hungry. And thanks for being here tonight. And Tom, thank you for taking the time. And
thank you very much. Thanks, Barney.
Linda, thank you as well. I know you're not in this picture right now, but I know you're still there. So thank you for sharing your story earlier. We really appreciate that. Okay, awesome. Okay, see you guys. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.